How did this movie even get made? Normally I would start off these reviews by going over the plot of what happens in these movies, but in this case I can't really go over the plot of this movie because I have no idea what the plot is, and neither does the movie, because this movie is more confused about its identity than someone who is suffering from DID. First off, we start with a flashback to some incident that happened, and then we flash back some more to a gangster, and then we flash back some more from that to a cricket match, and then we flash forward into some village festival. And this movie really can't decide what it wants to be. Now, normally for Indian movies, the plot and the identity of the movie changes over the course of the movie, right? It may start as something and end as something else, but this movie doesn't do that. This movie goes all over the place. It is so confused about what it wants to be, and that is a massive problem from the person who is writing the screenplay and directing this movie. And that is the part that answers my first question. How did this movie get made? Well, the answer is nepotism. The movie is written and directed by Aishwarya Rajnikant, who is the daughter of Tamil cinema superstar icon Rajnikant, and that is the only reason this movie got made, and that's the only reason why he appears in this film, because this film fails on so many different levels. I just touched upon the plot, which is not only nonsensical but terribly hard to follow, but it fails on technical levels as well. I feel like this movie was edited by Neurotic because it jumps between scenes like crazy, and it never really focuses on any scene. And what is the atmosphere I'm supposed to feel in this movie? What are we going for here? Is this, the tone is all over the place. Is this a gritty, violent gangster movie? Is this a light-hearted family comedy? Is this an intense sports movie? I can't tell. The tone shifts all over the place, and that comes from really bad writing, as I've already mentioned, but on other technical aspects as well. For example, the sound design is confusing because the BGM for some of the characters is cut in and out very poorly. It's like very shoddily made. On top of that, the editing in this movie is quite honestly god awful. Like, the editing I do for this video is 10,000 times better than the garbage they put out in this movie. That's what I felt just watching the movie. There's just some cuts where you're just like, that could have been a new take, or we could have cut that cleaner. And especially with the action scenes, it felt like they were rushing to shoot this in like 30 days, get it done, get it in cinemas, and just bank on the name of Rajnikant to sell it to audiences. And the only reason they can bank on his name is because he's here to support his daughter. Now, by all means, I've seen her sort of filmography, and there are 4 movies, including this one, on there. And her first movie was 3, which, you know, also comes from being related to him. But it wasn't a bad movie at all. But for someone as big as him to work with a director that only directed 4 movies, that director has to be pretty special or related to him. Because while the movie she first directed, 3, was not a bad film, this is horrible. The ridiculous to follow plot with incredibly inconsistent tone makes it something that's so hard to watch. Now, normally if a movie is slow paced or boring, you look at your watch and you just wonder, wow, that's only been 1 hour. But you generally understand what's going on. It's just boring or just uninteresting. I looked at my watch and I saw it's only been an hour. I still have another hour and a half to go of this, and I have no fucking clue what's going on. Christopher Nolan, this director, is not. And I hope that she kind of just pulls back from directing again, or maybe goes for something similar to 3, which is more of a drama, romance sort of thing, because action or whatever this is really isn't in her ballpark. Now, some may argue that this movie has a message, and yes, while it does have a message, that message is shown with all the subtlety and nuance of getting hit by a semi-truck. It hits you over the head repeatedly with the message, and for a message that is quite sensitive, that it's trying to present, I understand the message because, you know, just message, message. No, it's not. It's not how you do it. And while I understand the message is important, it needs to be delivered with more nuance and more care, because it's quite a sensitive message and it might get hate from certain quarters. You know, this video that I'm filming was supposed to be a review for Pluto. That was supposed to be the next video. But instead, I'm filming a review of this because I do not want anyone to fall victim to this movie. I could have spent those 2.5 hours watching the last 2 episodes of Pluto that I still haven't watched because I spent time going for this movie instead. Also, this is just a whole lesson about nepotism in cinema, because, you know, while nepotism is rife in cinema around the world, it is incredibly obvious in Indian cinema, and this is where it fails. I will just highlight 2 points that were positives, but they were very small bits of the movie. And that is, number 1, sometimes in some scenes, remember, about 3 or 4 scenes in this 2.5 hour long movie were shot quite beautifully. Like someone actually went to film school and learned how to frame shots and film shots and do proper color grading for it. Now the other one, and this may be spoilers, but I don't give a shit, is where one of the characters loses an arm and they have to paint out the arm using CG. And that was good, but it was only in for like 2 scenes before either the animators got really lazy or they ran out of budget and they were like, replace it with a prosthetic arm. People won't know. But I noticed your laziness. Anyway, Lal Salaam, this movie gets a 2 out of 10. And that too is only because of the 2 points I brought. If those 2 points weren't there, this would be an easy 0 to 1 out of 10. What a complete waste of my time. Hopefully I get to watch those last 2 episodes of Pluto and bring you a review of something far more positive. So if you've seen this garbage fest, please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, if you've enjoyed this review, please check out my reviews of some other movies that I've made, and also consider subscribing.